So you have an autoimmune disease and you're wondering if you really do need to give up gluten and dairy. I'm gonna cut straight to the chase. Absolutely yes. And I don't want to be the bad guy in your story. I just really want to help you get rid of this inflammation in the body. And if you've tried to give up gluten and dairy before but have been unsuccessful, don't be too hard on yourself. Foods like gluten, dairy, refined sugars, all trigger this neurotransmitter called dopamine. And this is what's creating this very addictive response and makes it so hard for you to give up. And before I go any further, I want to introduce myself. I'm Melody, and I'm here to help you guys find the light in your autoimmune disease through your nutrition, your lifestyle, and your mindset habits. If you haven't been to my YouTube before, I just want to introduce myself even further and tell you a bit about my story. I actually got my functional nutritional therapy practitioner license last year because I felt like it was my sole purpose to help others with their chronic illnesses, or more specifically autoimmune disease, because I was actually diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was 15 years old. And ever since, I found so much comfort and so many answers in my own nutrition, lifestyle, and my mindset habits. So today, I want to help you on your journey. I want to help you get rid of that inflammation in the body. But I'm not just going to tell you, no, you can't eat your favorite foods. I'm so sorry. I know how hard this can be. But I actually want to give you the science behind why I'm telling you it is better off completely eliminating these foods from your diet. So before I dive deep into the science behind why I'm telling you to give up your favorite foods, I want you to know that you can do this. And it is hard, but choosing your wellness for long term and your lifetime is way better than that quick fix in that moment. And I know it sounds easier said than done for sure. But I hope by the end of this video, I have inspired you to start backing away from these foods and realize how much better you feel without them. Because you are your own greatest investment. And I know you're probably the type of person that wants to help everyone else. If you have a family, if you have other people relying on you, you want to give. But sometimes you have to be selfish and take care of yourself first to be more selfless. Because eventually you're going to burn out. And I want to help you not burn out. You got this, warrior. I know you got this. So now let's get started on why I'm telling you to give up your favorite foods. Please don't go away. I want to motivate and inspire you the best that I can. So first I want to talk about gluten. And I want you to know that gluten and dairy have the same molecular structure. So the body doesn't know the difference between the two molecules. So you love your gluten, you love your bread, you love your tortillas. What many of us don't know is that the gluten in the breads that we're eating today is nothing like our grandparents ate. Scientists have actually found a way to develop hybrid structures of gluten. So our bodies don't know how to process this yet because it's completely foreign to what our human bodies have ever known before. And you're probably wondering, why would they try to change the structure of our gluten? That's because in today's modern society, they're using it as a filler. This new form of gluten can dissolve into our lunch meats, it can dissolve into our shampoos, our toothpaste. It's just a way for them to fill it up and make it cheaper to sell to us. And it honestly makes me sick to my stomach to even think of this, especially since our bodies are not reacting well and it's just creating a cascade of problems for us. So I have 3 different reasons why it would be in your best interest to just completely eliminate gluten. I'm gonna talk about gluten first. Since gluten and dairy do have the same molecular structure, it'll both tie in together. So on to reason number 1. Gluten weakens the intestinal barrier, creating intestinal permeability. This is more commonly known as the leaky gut. So when you eat a piece of gluten, or let's say you just eat a piece of bread, it's going to travel down to your stomach, eventually reaching your small intestine. When it reaches your small intestine, it's going to trigger the release of zonulin. Zonulin is a chemical that tells your intestinal wall to start opening up. And this is where the leaky gut comes in. And if you aren't familiar with the term leaky gut, I first want to tell you the importance of your gut. Our gut is where our body digests, assimilates, and absorbs nutrients. This is also where about 80% of our immune system is. The importance of this is that we're going to be extremely nutrient deficient if we have this leaky gut. We're not going to get the nutrients we need, and it's also going to cause a cascade of problems on top of that. So knowing that this is where our body is digesting food as well, if our gut becomes leaky, that means all of our undigested foods, all of the proteins, all of the toxins, everything is going to get leaked out into our bloodstream. And this is where the problems start. And to have an even simpler example, I really love this analogy by Dr. Myers. She compares our gut to a drawbridge. So this is our gut, helping our foods, our nutrients, our micronutrients, get where it needs to be. But if it becomes leaky because zonulin opened it up more than it needs to, that means the toxins, the proteins, the undigested foods are going to get leaked out into the bloodstream. And that's where the problems start. So we don't want that. We want it to be closed so it does its job. We want to use this as the drawbridge to keep everything structured and in line. When our gut becomes leaky, it causes that cascade of problems. It causes brain fog, it causes fatigue, digestive issues, itchiness, and inflammation. Inflammation is a huge part of why we even got our autoimmune disease. And the majority of people with autoimmunity sadly do have a leaky gut. And what we want to do is we want to fix this leaky gut. We want to close this drawbridge so it's not creating all this inflammation, all these flares in the body. And it's not only eliminating foods, it's implementing foods. But for right now, I just want to help you see the reasons why we should get rid of gluten and dairy from our diet. So that moves us on to our second reason why we should give up gluten, especially. And you'll soon realize that gluten and dairy are one and the same. So if you have an autoimmune disease, it means at one point your body completely decided to go rogue and start attacking our own body. And this is something that happens over time. And it's definitely not something that happens instantaneously. So inflammation is your body's natural response to detect foreign invaders and really just try to help us out. So when you have a virus, when you have a cut, or in this case, when gluten gets released from your gut, of course, it's going to go off and fight because it's a foreign invader and it wants to help you. But what we don't know is that this is going to create chronic inflammation in the body because your body's always trying to fight, always trying to fight, always trying to fight. But eventually, just like us, imagine having a full work week and you're just exhausted. But okay, not even a full work week. Imagine working 80 hours and you're just exhausted. Eventually, you're going to start to burn out. Eventually, you're going to start to not only get confused, but get sloppy. And this is what our immune system does. It's fighting so much for us that it starts getting confused. It starts attacking ourselves because it looks the same to them. And it's trying to do the best for us. But we forget that we need to help it out too. And that leads me to my third reason, is that structures like gluten and dairy look the same. They have molecular mimicry. Our own tissues look the same as these gluten and dairy molecules. Although our body is very smart, it recognizes the structure of these molecules. So our body actually starts attacking us. So I always say we need to hand our body the right tools in order for it to start repairing itself, but we also need to take away the tools it doesn't need so it can fight a fair fight in a way. And I remember learning about this and I just felt sick to my stomach, because I realized how horrible I was treating my body. And in a lot of ways, I just wanted to help. I wanted to help any way I can because I knew my body wasn't fighting a fair fight because I wasn't letting it. And once I started learning what I can do for my body, what I can do for my illness, I've learned that I need to put in the time, put in the energy, and put in the discipline to help my body instead of hurt my body even more. There's so much more to healing our leaky gut, but I hope I gave you the motivation to take the foods that are hindering your body out, because we want to help our bodies. Our bodies are fighting as hard as they can, but we want to give them a fair battle. We want to give them the tools that they need, or like, let's say the weapons they need to help us. because they're not trying to hurt us, even though some days it really does feel like it. It feels like we're the one fighting the battle. There's so much going on within us that's fighting even harder for us. And sometimes it may get confused, but our body is smart. We just need to help it a little. So if you guys ever need any help on how to clean out your diet, how to hand your body the tools it needs, go ahead and click the link in my bio to work with me one-on-one, and I would love to help you. And it's not easy. As I said before, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was 15, and for the past 7 years, it's been a battle for me. It's been a battle trying to figure out what works personally for my body, and I've learned so much through my nutritional therapy program that there's not a one-size-fits-all diet, but we want to find those tools we need for our own personal body. And I just want to leave you with, be nice to yourself, be nice to your body, and you're a freaking warrior and you can do this. Until next time, guys, have a great day, a great year, and a great life. Goodbye.